on the computer. What would I do without you, Leah? Thank you, girl. All right, everyone. Welcome. Dr. Stacy here. Thank you for joining us this evening. We have got a full lineup for you tonight. So if you are new to our team or have maybe not been on this type of Zoom before, we do these every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tonight is product. No, okay? That was Tuesday night. No product tonight. So no questions about which patch for this or which patch for that. Tonight, we're diving deep into the business side of LifeWave, into the opportunity and sharing with others and how we do that. So we have a full evening, and I'm so excited for our lineup. We have first a veteran here in LifeWave, 19 years with LifeWave. You guys are in for a treat when you hear Kai Jacobson. And after Kai and I finish, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Stan and Alicia, and they are going to talk to you about different types of personalities within this business and how you work with different people to be able to listen and interact and be able to respond in a way that is catering to what people are really asking for. So we're going to give you a little bit of background and history and why LifeWave and the business and that kind of thing. And then we're going to turn it over and use something that's applicable right now into you, those of you that are out prospecting and working with new people, which is all of us, right? So Kai, I would love for you to start first of all, because you've not just been with LifeWave for 19 years. Take us back, because you've been in the industry and in business as a business owner and creator for a very long time. So give us your background in business and take us up to that point of where you found out about LifeWave.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stacy. It's an honor to be here and to be on. I have so much respect for Dr. Stacy and what she does. It's a hard act to follow, Dr. Stacy. But I've been with network marketing for almost 48 years now. That really dates me, doesn't it? And actually LifeWave for 20 years. I've actually been since they started. So I have one more year in there. Yes. And I remember hearing when I was young, like 18 years old, I was at these hot springs, and these people were having this secret talk about Amway. Like they went off to huddle and do a big meeting. And I go, what's that all about? Network marketing. This was, it was even more than 50 years ago. And it intrigued me. It really intrigued me because it looked fun. It looked like they were doing something different and fun. So I started reading some books about network marketing, and there was only really a few companies out there at the time. And I fell in love with the idea of, having my own business, but not have to do all the hassles. I didn't have to have any employees. Everyone was, and the more I helped other people, the better I succeeded. It wasn't like this. Like I had jobs where I was competing against people, and I had the ceiling above me. Like my boss didn't want me to go up because it would kind of get him in trouble, and only if he got the next raise and he could go to the next step, it would allow me to go, as opposed to our model where people that are kind of maybe been in longer and higher up than you are all reaching down to try to help you. And matter of fact, I'm so proud that I have so many people, Dr. Stacy being one of them, who came in, only maybe 5 years ago?
3.
And 3 years ago, who does better than me, makes more money, has a huge team, and I have a great team too, and I do really well. But what I love is that it's not too late. That's one of the things I want to really impart. Just because I've been here for 20 years, I have like at least 20 people in my network, in my group, in my downline, or whatever you want to call it, who make more money than me, who do really well, who've only been in the business for less than 5 years, some of them only a year or two. And I make a very, very good 7-figure income. So I make a great income. So that shows you what this possibility is. And it's not too late because you're just coming in now. So I love that our company is all based on collaboration, the industry in general. So I started off with water. I love water. I got involved in a water company way back in the water wars. And I went to a few companies. I haven't been in a lot of them. And this is by far my favorite company I've ever been with. And I've been with them for 20 years. And there's a lot of good businesses and deals out there, but there are very few homes. And this is a home. And the reason I say that is that it's long-term, it's stable, it's been around for a long time, so you can count on it. David Schmidt is such an incredible inventor, but genuinely a good person. And so, it's as above, so below. If you have a really good owner and leader, you have a chance of being with a company that can last a long time and where you'll be cared for in a good way. And LifeWave is that.
Mhm. So let's piggyback on that a little bit before we go further, Kai. I'm sure 20 years with LifeWave, you have some nuggets that you can share with us about David. Maybe some times when you guys were in the trenches together, or some times where things were woo, because there are always ups and downs in businesses. What are some of the things that we wouldn't know about David that you've got to experience, that you've got to be a part of, that you could share with us?
Well, it's always been very interesting. And David he's so consistent. I mean, he's pretty much the same that he was when I came 20 years ago. He's a very consistent, genuinely good human being and very brilliant. And I can just say that, yes, there were definitely some challenges that happened in the company. Like many years ago, I think we were only in business for maybe 5 years at that time. We got hit by the Russian mafia. They love binaries, and they were like, and all of a sudden, all of us started seeing all these sales going in our downlines. And when you're in a binary, you don't know everybody that's way down. And you go, "Wow, it's taking off! It's great!" And all of a sudden, we find out that we were hacked basically by the Russian mafia, and they almost went out of business because of it, and they survived. And that's why you want to be in a company that's been around for a while, because there's 101 reasons. Like, you can be too successful as a company and you run out of product or they, do major goofs, or you get hit by the mafia, or whatever. And so David is just a genuinely good person. And, I've had really good experiences with him, really great conversations. I remember some of the earlier trips that we used to do years ago. These trips are just such a great opportunity to meet the other leaders. And at times David's on some of the trips, not on all of them. And, he's a very exceptional human being.
Yeah, he is for sure. I agree. So tell us a little bit more about what was your favorite trip? Do you have a favorite trip with LifeWave that you went on?
Well, I loved going to Costa Rica. That was really special for
Yeah.
me. Right now, that's probably my favorite one. And it was, not only did we have a great trip, but what I do often, like I'm going to go on the Italy trip soon, I will go for 10 days afterwards. And so these are places I've never gone to. I never had gotten to Costa Rica, and I haven't been to Italy and Greece yet. So it's an opportunity, to have your trip paid for, go first class. David treats you so well on these trips. There's so many gifts that he gives, and it's just a great experience. And then the camaraderie, and as I said, this is a home for people, and so there's such a great community that you're part of. And in Costa Rica, when I was there, I had some incredible experiences just being by the ocean with the team and the group. And then afterwards, Gregory and Robin, who are some of my favorite people and best friends, we went for a week to uh, the volcano that's there up in the mountains.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was at a hot springs. We had heard about it, and it was the
Uh-huh.
most beautiful place I think I've ever been on the planet. So I wouldn't have gotten there if there wasn't the LifeWave trip
Yeah.
that got me there first and paid for, to be on the airplanes and everything to get to Costa Rica.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget about that. They forget about, yes, we come in and we want to help people and we want to share and we want to be able to earn an income, but it's really also about that community, right? That connection, making those relationships, developing those friendships, and getting to meet your buddies from all over the world on these trips. Whether it's your entry level trip, like we, went to Cancun earlier this year. We're right now in the middle of earning the Dominican Republic. There's a lot of people on here tonight that have already earned it, a ton of them that are so close. And then, of course, there's a lot of us that are going to Greece next month. Like you said, to Italy and to Greece. I've never been to Greece either, so I'm looking forward to it. And what better way to be able to hang out with a group of like minded people than to actually earn that by helping others improve their quality of life and earn money. I think that's a fantastic thing. You don't typically get a lot of that in corporate America. I've never been in corporate America. I was a school teacher years ago, but I know obviously a lot of people in corporate, and I don't see them going on trips to these luxurious locations and having all expense paid, everything. and being able to connect with so many people that love each other.
It's a very special experience, and
It definitely
something
is.
that everyone has access to it and you can actually win some of these trips, even if you're just joining now. And they're so fun, and you get to go with your peers, with your buddies, and it's just really fun.
Yeah. So tell us, you live in Puerto Rico, right, Kai?
I do.
Yes.
I
And
do.
where did you live before Puerto Rico when you found out about
I
LifeWave?
lived for 15 years in Hawaii on the island of Maui, and I loved it. It's just beautiful. But I started doing so well with LifeWave. It just really blew up, especially when the X39 came out. When the X39 came out, everything changed. The company just exploded. And I started making the kind of money in my life that I only had dreamed about. And I started writing these checks for taxes. This happened to David Jumper, my sponsor, too. And matter of fact, I got him to move to the Bermuda because, he was writing a check that most people only dream of earning maybe in 10 years. He was writing that for his taxes for 1 year. And I was writing not quite that big of a check, but pretty close. And I said, that's it. So I researched a lot, and I found that, I could live in a tropical area, an island, somewhat like Hawaii, actually closer to my grandkids and things, and participate in what's called the Act 60 program here in Puerto Rico, which I pay a flat 4% tax
That
on
would be
income
so
tax.
nice.
And so it's
4%.
not about how much money you make, it's about how much you get to keep. So that's largely why I'm in Puerto Rico, but I've actually fallen in love with the people and play a lot of pickleball, met a lot of Puerto Ricans now, and I'm having a blast here. And so these things lead you to new experiences, like you do it for one reason, but then you find out that there's a whole other set of reasons of why it probably actually really happened.
Yeah, I had no idea it was 4% tax. I think we may all. Can you have a residence there and one in the U.S.? No,
Nope,
you have to be
you have to
full
break
time
your
there.
ties. Yeah, you can't own properties there. But what I did is I just put it all in my kids and grandkids' names. I gave everything away,
Wow, how
which was
fantastic!
a good experience.
That is a great experience. So let's go back again a little bit with the patches you mentioned before X39. So you were doing well before X39. Tell me what were your like top 3 patches you absolutely love, like you wouldn't go a day without?
Well, I use the Alavita every night when I go to sleep. I put it right there in my third eye, and I dream in color, and my skin has really been changing a lot from that. I love the Eon patch, and I love the glutathione patch. Those are and I love the energy patch. So I can't just say 3. So those are probably, and I like many of the others a lot too, but those are ones that I use all the time.
Fantastic. And so, do you have a product experience yourself, or do you have a close family member like the pre X39 that they experienced some success and health with those patches before X39?
Well, for me, it wasn't as huge a story as many people have personally. For me, it was the energy patch was the only one we have. It was the only one originally for a couple of years. And I loved the patch, but I didn't feel it. It wasn't like drinking a Red Bull and you got a buzz or something. It was endurance. How do you feel endurance? So you have to have a way to calibrate it. You have to have a way to know before and after. And I was involved in a dance group, a kind of thing called Sweat Your Prayers. And it was a really fun dance community. And it was a couple hours of dancing where you did it with 100 people. And we did it twice a week. And I knew I really had my body calibrated. I could, it was 2 hours, very intensive workout. And I could only go an hour and a half. And then I'd have to sit down for a while and not join in at the end with everybody for the last 5-10 minutes. When I put the energy patches on, I didn't feel anything, but I found myself dancing through the whole thing, all 2 hours, not having to sit down. And so I really said, wow, that's different. But the real thing that sold me was my business partner at the time lived in Canada. We were building together. He had a little Shih Tzu dog. It was a little teeny dog, and had a stroke. And it had been for 6 months only able to walk in a circle. It could walk in a little circle, and it was living under their kitchen table. And it was a very old, it was, I think, almost 14 years old. For a little dog, that's pretty old. We were talking to Dr. Quila, who's an acupuncturist, and she said, I've heard if you put it behind the ears, there are a right and left patch, the energy patch. We didn't have any other patches. it can really stimulate the flow of energy and chi in the body. And see, why don't you do that and see what happens? So Randy, my business partner at the time, stuck the patches right, right on the white on the right and the tan on the left, behind the ears, and the little dog sat there for about 5 minutes. It felt like a half an hour, and then it stood up, shook itself off. It hadn't gone from underneath the kitchen table for the whole time, and had pooped and peed and everything under the table, lived under the table. It shook itself off and walked straight to the front door and scratched on it and went outside and peed. And we said, okay, we're gonna do this product full on. That was like the most profound thing, is that animals, there's no
Don't
placebo
lie.
effect, animals don't lie. So that really moved us. And with that little story, we built a very big business.
Wow. With the story of a little dog under the table, you grew a huge multi-7-figure income yearly
Yes.
business. Wow. So take us up to speed, Kai. X39 came out a little over 5 years ago. What changed?
Well, the product was profound and it hit a place in the marketplace. It was just so timely. People were very interested about, anti-aging and regeneration and living longer, younger. And the patch really worked. And there was nothing like that in the marketplace. We had patents, and it just really took off. I mean, it's just, some people got a hold of it, and your group for one, and many groups around you, people started coming to the company. It was a solid company. It had been around. It had weathered those hard storms that I said. I never look at a company that until it's at least 5 years old, because the truth is less than 1 in 100 are there 5 years later, and it's so much work to get it off the ground. They all look shiny and great when they start, but I was looking for something that was a long-term home. So when the X39 came out, X39, and that's happening, by the way, right now. We have this new product. I don't know what it is exactly, but I know David. And we have this new product that's, I've heard, is from some people that have a little bit more idea about it, that it's probably the most profound product that we'll ever have, or that to date. And so I always think of network marketing like fishing. Like when you start, you take your fishing line and you put it out there and you catch a couple fish. But once you start catching some and they start joining, and you start to build a network. I like calling that like a net, like fishing net. And now you have lots of fishing lines that are all tied together making a net. And if you get your net out there before the big wave comes in of like the new product, that's what happened to me with the X39. I had built a very good business, but when the X39 came out, because I had a net, I wasn't just starting with my own line, and now I had a network of people. My thing went from 100,000 people to 300,000 really quickly. And I think that's going to happen for people here that are building. The directors and the senior directors and the managers even will start having a bit of a net. And when this new product is announced, you'll have now many people working on bringing in and attracting people with something very new and exciting to this company. So this is a great time to set your foundation or create your network. So because you'll catch with a single line.
So I'm going to say that again. You pre-X39 had a very solid, stable business of 100,000 brand partners. And X39 came out and you went to 300,000 brand partners like that.
Like that.
Because you had taken the time to lay the foundation. You had been consistent over a time period. And so where we are right now, we are in July. We know we won't have our hands on this product this year, but we know it will be announced at convention. Conference is coming up in October in Dallas, and we are anticipating a Q1 launch is our goal, right? For all the logistics, everything files into place. So you have 6-ish months to, if you're brand new, to cast your net, to lay your foundation, to get as many people as possible using our patches so that their foundation is solid for what's to come. Because Kai, you probably know we were, having these conversations, for several years now, pre-conventions, when David would meet with the SPDs and he would talk about this. There's nothing like this on the planet, right? David's invented this. and there was no patent for this in the patent office. They had to create a category for him for this technology coming out. And so we are talking about something that is beyond revolutionary and what it's going to do for people. So take this time to share as many people as you possibly can. I love that analogy. Cast your net, right? Build your net, grow that network of people, and you'll grow your net worth as well along the way. And when that comes out, say you have, I don't know, let's say you have 100 people in your network at that time. Maybe you have 500, maybe you have 5,000. Some of you on here already have, 10 plus thousand people in your organization. What's that going to do in 6 months? Between now and 6 months, as everyone else is casting their net. That's fantastic. I thank you for sharing that. I love your visualizations. Your analogies are amazing. So I want to make sure we have some time for questions. Okay. So if you have a question for Kai, please put it in the chat and I'll ask him these questions. We already have one come in, Kai. How did you handle all those new brand partners coming in at one time?
Well, the beauty is I didn't have to. I had a network. I had lots of really good leaders and people that were first line to them. And I got to do more things like get on conference calls and they would bring their new people to a call just like this one. Mm-hmm. And I would get on and I could speak to 100 to 200, 300 people at once. And that's how I did it. I got to be the grandfather kind of more and, share the bigger visions and answer questions when they asked. And so this business isn't that you're having to manage. I mean, the company ships all the product. It does all the guarantees. It does all the bookkeeping. It does the bookkeeping of your whole network, and the right amount of money going to the right amount of people, their places. And so all of that's done. The logistics is completely done. All I have to do is show up and share the vision and the story and help and collaborate with people and do everything I can to help them be successful.
I love that. We don't have to take care of any of logistics of a business. All right. So how did you share X39 to grow your business that way? You said you did conference calls. Did you do anything else outside of that yourself?
Well, my favorite way to build businesses, if I could jump into that briefly, is there's so many ways to do it. There's so many ways to hit the ground. And social media is a very big one right now. But I still like some of the old world ones, which is I love to do what I love. I love to live the life that I really like and be around what I call kindred spirits. And so the things I like to do is travel. I like hot springs. I like yoga classes and yoga retreats and things like that. And I go to these kinds of things. And one, it's a write-off. I'm doing a business trip because I'm prospecting at these, but I don't vomit over everybody. It's not like I go, everybody, I just create friendships and relations. I like to do things that are like 4 to 5 days long. I've done a couple marketing cruises. Mm-hmm. I love to do the things I love, be around dynamic people, because you really want to you want to recruit up. You want to get strong people with networks, people who are good influencers. So you want to be around empowered people and go to a Tony Robbins workshop would be great. Something where you're there for 4 days, 3-4 days, so you can create friendships and relationships. Make sure you collect everyone's card or get a picture of them and a little note about them. And then afterwards, not during the event, but afterwards, that's the people then you go prospect. Hey, it was great meeting you there. Have you ever heard about stem cells? Have you ever heard about a patch that can activate your own stem cell? I'm looking for somebody, and then I look where they live, in the Detroit area. And I love meeting you at this thing. I know we have a commonality of interest. I'm looking for somebody I could help build there. And that's how I like, and that makes it such a fun business. Instead of like, it's not like work. It's like you're living your passion and you're meeting people. Like, let's say you like dogs and you go to a dog show event, or whatever it is. You like sailboats. It doesn't matter. It's like you want to be with your kindred spirits, doing the things you love, meeting people that have common interests, and then being able to share this with them in an appropriate way. And you will build a huge, for the long haul, will end up building a huge business based on a very organic, natural way to build, as opposed to making it like a job. like, oh, I'm going to make all these cold calls. Those are not that great. I mean, you're mostly talking to people that are looking for jobs, who are broke, and they say, oh, I love this. Sounds great. Can you buy my product for me?
Yeah.
That doesn't end up building your business very well.
Mm.
So you want to go to things where you're around empowered people and make those contacts.
I love that. I'm all about yoga retreats and Tony Robbins events as well. I've made a ton of connections at both over the years and many other types of things just like that. I love to go to these types of events where you're filling your own cup, you're connecting with people, you're networking, you're now connecting on social media with each other, and fantastic. Okay, so a couple more questions. If you're sharing with someone and they decide to do it and then you teach them how to use the back office right away, or do you just do the ordering for them or teach them afterwards? So that's kind of a logistic question. How do you decide? Do you go on and teach them how to do everything on their own, help them be self-sufficient, or do you just do it for them?
I always enroll somebody. I'm always, when I have a new person coming in, I take the time, because it's a time to connect and just make it fun and relaxed.
Mhm.
And I do as much as I can to help them with that process, and maybe even do it for them. I'm not looking to teach them on the first day. I'm wanting them to get a hold of the product, have a nice connection with me, feel good about things, have fun. And then if they have a good experience and want to go further, or they're looking for an opportunity,
Mhm.
then the next day, I start using some of the tools. We have some great sites. There's a lot of sites right now. I know that you have some that you use, and I don't want to confuse anybody with different ones, but materials that help people with their daily action plan and what they, and how to learn to do the business. And I take time to help them learn that and be a participant with them during that time.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Last question. What are the lessons your today self would tell your just getting started self? Great question, Candace.
That's so interesting, because I was on the director call with Gregory, and that came up in that call today. And his answer was exactly my answer, to it. So I know that there's two kindred spirits that think this, and it's probably that I spent way too much time doing the wrong actions and the wrong things. I was getting busy to get, trying to learn to get ready, trying to help people. Bottom line is I spent way too much time with the wrong people and not enough time with the right people. What you really want to be looking for is somebody who loves the product, who loves network marketing, who is really keen to do this and it's kind of all in. And then you spend a lot of time really helping them. And all the people that have all these questions and all these things, it's really good to be kind to them, but to direct them. Don't be the source of the answers. Even if you know the answer, say, that's such a great question. And if you can have even a list of where they can go look, oh, I think you might find the answer on this page or this webinar, at the 4th minute even, whatever.
Yeah.
Direct them, because most people are kind of that they're going to ask, they're not going to really get much from what, if you tell them, that they're going to then have another question. They're going to have another question. Whereas if they answer their own question, those kinds of people, we're going to talk about types of people, the people that do this, if they answer their own questions, they find that infallible. And then they're like, okay, and they start to believe more. So you don't want to be the source of the answers. You want to be a good director of how to find those answers and answer it caringly. And then spend your time with the people that are really keen, that are leaning forward, that want to build the business, that are in love with it, and spend more time. You might go, oh, well, they're already in and outgoing. No, you want to make sure they become a general. Because I'm going to ask one question now to you, if I can, really quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it true, Stacy, because you're very, very successful, that you could say that 90% of your income is because of 2 people in your network?
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what? There was a woman that was a big teacher of this, Kim Clavers. She asked that to 100 top network marketers in all different companies, all different pay plans, all different products. And she found 95 people answered that question that were over 100,000 a month earners. They had to be 100,000 a month earner. And 100 people she asked that question, and 95 said yes, of the leaders. So you're not looking for thousands of people. You're looking for 2 really good ones. So when you find a good one, do everything you can to get them successful and happy. They used to say, go live with the person for the next month. You do everything. And that's where you want to spend your time instead of answering all the questions and running around doing or studying or learning this. There's so many ways you can get, not be using your time the best.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for asking that question. I think that's a great question for everyone to ask for themselves. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kai, for being here this evening, for taking the time to pour into our teams. I know we're down here, but we appreciate you, we value you, and we really honor you taking the time to be here tonight for us. We would love for you to stay if you would like to. I'm going to unpin you and bring on Dr. Stan Gravely and Alicia Waters, and they are going to take it over from here. Let me find Alicia really quickly. You guys, I have made you co-host. And you guys, if you have any other questions for Kai, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm sure he'll be checking that out as well too. And I will, let me get myself off here, unpin. There we go. All right, Dr. Stan, Alicia, take it away.
Well, hey guys, we're so excited to come and share with you this podcast about personalities. And me and Alicia are 2 different personalities for sure. Alicia is this outgoing, bubbly type of person. But we're going to learn a little bit about that tonight. And I discovered this about 32 years ago. And I was actually going to a homeschool convention. And when I was pastoring churches, and we ran into this guy that was promoting personality insights using the DISC formula, D-I-S-C, that we're going to be talking about tonight, along with blending it with the colors. The colors are the easiest way to learn about personality profiling. The DISC is a little bit more detailed. We're not going to get into all the details tonight of the DISC. We don't have time to do that. But we're going to get into the basics and blend both of them together. And understanding personalities is so important. When I used to, in our family, for instance, we have different personalities. And one of the things after we went to our first workshop, we decided to go on and get certified as, human behavior consultants, because in our family, we had so many different dynamics. And after we did the workshop, I looked at Jody and I said, I'm going to quit trying to make you like me, which was the most wonderful thing I could have ever said to Jody. Because once you understand that we're all wired differently, think differently, carry on and see things differently, work the business differently, and approach things differently, you begin to understand, instead of calling someone, oh, that jerk, they're just so detailed, that blah, 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 you can say, oh, they're so blue, they're so yellow, they're so green, or something like that. We use the D, and Jody will look at me sometimes and say, you need to lower your D or your red personality when we're dealing with each other, because it's very valuable. But then as far as the business goes, Alicia is really good at giving us some tips on that, is that different personalities need to be handled in different ways. If you treat me like an I personality, a blue, I'm going to shut down on you, shut the door, and push you out of my life, because you can't approach me the way you would an I or another personality. And you have to really understand that when you're dealing with people. Alicia, have you got the first chart that we can put up here and share with the people? Because it kind of will give you a good idea of what we're going to be talking about as far as the DISC. You will see the D-I-S-C, the D and the I are on the top, and the C and the S are on the bottom. Now, when we get to talking about all of this, what you're going to discover is that the red personality, the blue personality, the DIs are more outgoing people. The C and the S, green and yellow, are more reserved people. But then the D and the C, even though they're different personalities as far as outgoing and reserved, the D and the C are more task-oriented people, whereas the IS, the blue and the yellow, are more people oriented. Now, when you begin to discover your color, you got to understand this. And when Alicia and I go through this, you're going to find that you're going to be predominantly one of these, but you're going to be a blend of all of them. And so we want you to, if you haven't took the color test, you know, it's out there, it's free. There's disc profiles you can do online that can help you to discover it more. But you'll key in on some of the things as we start to go through each and every one of these personality styles. And the one thing I do want to tell you is that once you discover your personality style and that you have some other styles, you know, that go along with you, we just encourage you not to use it as an excuse to say, well, I'm just denied, that's just the way I am, and people are going to have to accept the fact I'm this way or that way. No, it's so that you can discover your strengths and your weaknesses, because what I have discovered over the years, your strengths become weaknesses when it begins to overpower other people. And so a lot of times, you know, your strengths can become your very worst enemy. So you need to be able to balance yourself out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into each and every one of the colors and the personalities. I'm going to kind of give you the D aspect of everything. And then I'm going to let Alicia give her kind of color on everything that we're going to be doing here tonight. But let's just jump right into the D.
If you know your color or your letter, throw it in the chat so everybody can see it. I think it's kind of
that'd
cool.
be great to see who the reds are. But the red personality, these people, I like to use the acrostics. That kind of helps you to learn the traits of a D personality or the red. These people are direct. These people are decisive. These people are determined type of people. They are doers. They're very task oriented. D personalities, you give them a task, they will get the job done. They like to lead. They like to dominate. And they like to take control of things. And so when you need to get a job done, you get a D, because the D will take over and do it. But that's the danger, is that, you know, when you get too much in control, you begin to turn other people off. That's where your strengths can become weaknesses, and Ds need to be able to learn how to deal with people or whatever. They need a lot of respect. They need a lot of choices. They need a lot of control, especially in their business. If you start bossing them around and treating them like an employee, they're not going to listen to you. They're going to shut down and push you away. But Alicia, what about this red color?
So very cool too. One of the things you'll notice is D's and yellows attract to each other. They need each other, but they can also get very turned off by each other. I mean, if you're a D red like I am, I'm a D red, but it seems like all my besties are all yellow, but I have to be very careful with them. And you'll also find that in your teams, and here's what's important to this in learning about this and learning what color you are, and then what color your leaders are, and what color your potentials and your prospects are, is you have to talk their language, not yours, because of what Stan just said. You know, we want to make sure that a red on your team or a red that you're working with, that you give them that challenge. They're very competitive, and they're very focused and driven. For example, I know a lot of you are red that are already in the top numbers of the trip to the DR, because you see and you have a goal, you have a challenge, and you're going for it because you're so focused in on that. Reds on your team will be great self-starters. You know, you don't have to hold their hand, sleep on their couch, and push them as much. But if you're a yellow, got to be real careful. You can't love a red to death because they're going to get eked out. If you're a blue, you can't party a red to death because they're going to get distracted and they're not going to be really excited about doing all the parties because they feel that that's time away from work. If they're a green,
those can interact pretty well, and we'll go into a little bit more about that. But for example, if you have a red on your team and you're really wanting to push them, and maybe they're a manager and they feel like the DR contest is out of reach, or they're more interested in money or doing something else, put a little small contest together just for them. You know, identify that they're that red personality and push them with a 15-day contest just for them, just to make the challenge happen. You know, some sample scripts here that you could work with a red. Talk about money. Talk about Stacy went and bought a Lamborghini today. Talk about the gentleman Kai that was just on, that moved to Puerto Rico to save on taxes. That's big picture, big money thinking. Okay, throw the numbers out. For a yellow or a blue, a lot of times they could care less about the money. They would give it all away or party it all away. So talk about the money. And then you know, just talk about the way that they can be in charge. They're in control of their own destiny. It's their own business. Okay, Reds love that. Stan?
All right, we're going to the I. Okay, I's are outgoing people, oriented people. The D's make up about 10% of the population. Thank God we don't need more than 10% of those guys and gals around, but 25% are the I's. And I people are what we call the fun people. I call it, here's the acrostics: inspiring, influencing, interreactive, imaginative, involved. They like to have fun. You know, if you're getting ready to do an event, they're going to be the first ones, you know, oh, we're going to have a social event. I can't wait, you know, till the party. They're there to party, have a good time. In fact, when you meet an I personality, they usually talk all the time. They can't shut up. Many of them, you know, they just go on and on and on, but they can be the life of the party. They come in and they get things going and they start getting things stirred up. And so I personalities, you know, love to get rewards, especially things like stars and trophies and things like that. Those are tangible, exciting things that you can work with people like that, as far as that goes. But they need a lot of, believe it or not, a lot of these people that are, you know, extremely outgoing and have these personalities still deep inside, you know, they need a lot of affirmation. They want to feel popular, and they want to be involved. And again, their strength is they're outgoing. They don't ever meet a stranger, but many times they don't know when to shut up, you know, and so especially from a business standpoint, an I personality can just be, you know, fun and going over all the things, you know, that you can have fun and do and all that. But then a lot of times they're not listening. They're not paying attention. And we use the term vomiting on people, you know, with whatever it is that they're trying to share with them. They're wonderful. Obviously, we love I personalities, and they're a part of the world that makes us go round. But, you know, we have to, again, realize our strengths can also become our weaknesses when we discover that we are one of these people, and learning how to, when we're in business situations, social situations, Alicia will share with you, you know, we have to understand how other people are thinking and how they're interpreting us, and taking time to think about that. So, you know, and as Alicia said, you know, when she said opposite, you know, the opposites attract, but then they attack. And that's what happens in marriages many times. You know, two different personalities get married and they love it, but then as the marriage goes through, the husband that's a D gets tired of the wife that's just talking all the time and wants to go out all the time, and doesn't give him a chance to sit and download and regroup and have his own time and space to himself. So go, Alicia.
So these blue personalities, like you said, Stan, they're the life of the party. Who is a blue? Who's got to be there no matter what? And they just love the camaraderie of this company. I mean, you can be any of the personalities and love the culture that LifeWave provides for us, which is amazing, with our conferences, with our community, with our Zooms just like this, and of course, all of the incredible trips that we have available. But if you see that person that is on your team or that you would love to have on your team that is a blue, remember, we need to talk about this constantly. We need to talk about the trips. We need to talk about conference. There are blues on my team that barely enroll. They just order for themselves, but they have registered for every conference because they love the community. They want to be a part of the group. They want to be a part of the know, and they thrive in that. So realize there's a place for them. And if you're not a blue, say you're a green and you're real detail oriented and you're like charts and graphs. If you start throwing a chart and a graph at a blue, they want nothing to do with it. So be super careful how you do that, because these people are all about the fun and not about the money. All right, some sample scripts for them is, you know, talk to them about how they're going to thrive, how they're going to succeed, how much fun we're going to have, how your best friends have become your brothers and sisters in this company. Talk about a sense of belonging, the opportunity, and all of the things that they're going to be able to do and go and see with LifeWave. And there is your blue.
Blue. Uh-oh, we got a yellow, S personality. Well, you'll remember the chart. S's are people oriented, but the opposite of outgoing, they can be very shy and really, you know, withdrawn a lot of times. You know, the acrostics would be stable, they're steady, they like the status quo, they don't do well with change. When everything's going along real good and then somebody comes along and wants to change everything, they don't do very well with change. They're steady. They like the status quo. They're very sweet people. They like sameness, but they're very supportive people. S's are the type of people, man, if you need to get somebody to do something, serve in any way, they are going to come to the table. They want to serve and support and be helpful. And, you know, in the business, we need people like that. You know, like when we're having meetings, you know, it takes a lot of people to come together and serve and put something together as far as that goes. And they need a lot of security. They need a lot of approval. They need a lot of sameness, and they need a lot of appreciation. And one of the things about a S is that you have to be very careful, is that if you start to take advantage of them and you keep pushing them in the corner, they're going to explode on you, because they will hold things in until they explode. And then they come out sometimes like a Tasmanian devil, you know, like, wow, what happened to, Sue, the little S personality, where you pushed her too far, him too far. You didn't give them approval and appreciation. And then eventually they don't feel appreciated. And so if you're dealing with these people, as Alicia will share with you, you know, you've got to really, really help these people to feel like they're a part and give them security and approval. All right, Alicia, take your turn here.
About the yellows. I mean, don't we love our yellows? Raise your hand if you're a yellow. Shout it out. You know, for me, a yellow is like a big hug. I just love the yellows on our team. And one thing that I talk about a lot when working with yellows is, and I want you to look at me in my eyes right now, you can't give it all away. Okay. This is a business, and we know you're here because this product is so amazing and it's helping change lives, and that's your heart. You know, nurses and teachers and mamas are, you know, the traditional, the yellow personality. And guys, remember, we know we want to give it to everybody. We know that everybody needs this technology, but just don't give it all away. You know, and here's a little tip. If you make more, you can give more, and you can change more lives if you're making more money. So don't feel bad about that, okay? But yellows you work together as a team. Yellows get together. Find the yellows in your organization, or identify in your community yellow personalities that might be hampered. You know, a cool thing about LifeWave is we can find rock stars. And what Kai said tonight, 2 people. 2 people is all it takes to change your life forever. And one of, you know, every personality can work within LifeWave. So you definitely want to do that, but really nurture, love on, and cherish your yellow people. They're 40% of the population, so there's a lot of them out there. But you know, just give them those squeezes and make sure that they don't give all their product away. Some sample yellow scripts. You're going to be a natural in this business, you know, and you're going to help so many people. That's the big thing. Just encourage them, tell them how much, and we can help them a lot of different ways. We can help with their health and wellness. We can help them financially. We can help them with a social outlet. We can help them with a creative outlet. Whatever that yellow is looking for to help, we've got it. And then the other thing that I have started using a lot in my script, and talking to people script might be a strong word, but if you love someone and you want them to live a long time, they need to be using this product. If you have someone you love that you want to live a long time, they need to be using this product. And that speaks strongly to the yellows, because they have all these people in their lives that they love so dearly, and they'll do whatever it takes for that puppy or person to live a long time. So love on our yellows. Give them the big hugs.
Yep, and we're going to go to the C. And, you know, just while I was thinking about it, so I don't forget, there's no one personality that can build the business any better than anybody else. Every color has the ability to build a business. Your personality is your personality. It is your strength. You are an individual, and your individuality is what you use to build your business, because you are a special person. I've been in network marketing for 45 years, and I can guarantee you, if there was a way that we could look around and find out who will or will not do this business, I could become a billionaire overnight by helping network marketers to be able to say, this person will do it and this one won't. There's no such tool. Every personality, I've been around this for 45 years, I've seen every personality build the business big. And so there's no excuse, no matter what your personality is. Don't use your personality as an excuse to say you can't build the business, which brings us to the green personality in the disc. It's the C personality. C's are people who are very calculating. They're competent. They're cautious. They're calculating. They're very compliant. They're going to do everything by the book. They're going to dot every I, cross every T. If you're going to go from A to Z, you got to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way down the line. Whereas, you know, like a D personality, we don't care how we get there. Let's just get there. If we have to zig or zag or do some creative things along the way, the C is going to be like, no, we got to be compliant. We got to go by the rules. They can be, you know, so in that situation, you know, they make good numbers, people. And usually when you get somebody like this investigating the business, they're going to want to see the comp plan. We want to know how the comp plan works. They got to break it all down, figure it all out. And you just need to step back. And when you have someone like that, you've got to realize it may take a few days or a week. I've had some people take a month, but then after they do their investigation, they come back and they're say, I'm ready to go. I've done my homework. Everything is kosher and I'm ready to rock and roll. So you got to be patient with green personalities, especially when they first start getting in the business. A lot of D's, you know, and I have a lot of D in me, you know, it's like, I want to show me the money, show me how, you know, what the potential is, show me the 3 steps to success. I don't need all the details, you know, but here's a personality that needs to know the details. They value their own value, their excellence, and they do need a lot of confirmation in everything that they do. So Alicia, what has the green personality taught you?
Oh, where's it going here?
There it is. You got it.
There we go. I'm getting ready to marry a very strong green, which is a whole game for me in learning that Chris doesn't do anything without months of research, and he's so detailed. But it's 25% of the population. So how does that work within our business? And I think you really covered it really well, Stan, in talking about they don't want to be rushed into a decision. If you're a blue and you're like, gotta get in, we're going to the party, it's gonna be awesome, you're gonna make the greens out the door running as hard as they possibly can in the other direction, because you did not provide for them a single YouTube video, any spreadsheets. They want to see the patents. They want to see the clinical studies. The green has to know, and they have to like digest it and make all the numbers add up and click. So be patient with your greens, but when a green gets in, they're in it for life. Okay, because they have done so much research, they know the product. Now, if you're not a green, or if you're a secondary green, be careful that you don't over green your business. We don't have to know everything to get started. Susan Verhulst loves to say, and we talk about it all the time, and Laura, like when we first started in this business, it was like ignorance on fire, just throwing it out there and like telling everybody, put it on, it works. And that is a fabulous way to do it. So be sure that you don't feel like if you're not part of this 25% that you have to know everything, especially if you're kind of a secondary green. They borderline ride that ride that they gotta learn it all and know it all, and you do not. But greens get really motivated. So how do you get a green to conference? You tell them that they're going to be learning from the inventor and the scientist. How do you get them to a trip? Tell them the top leaders and all the doctors and the people that they can learn from will be on the trips. So they want to know statistics and the facts and the numbers, and to get your greens going, motivated and ramped up. Or if you're looking to get a green on your team, talk about the science. They love that stuff. Talk about the facts of how this product really works, and they really dig that. And send them the links if you don't feel like that I'm a red. I don't feel like I have time to divide, pour into all of that. So I just send them all the tools because they want to research it themselves anyway. And of course, using the words research, statistics, stats, all of the patents and the independent third-party clinical studies, the money back guarantee, if you want to say that. You can Google, you can YouTube, use those buzzwords with your greens and let them move forward with their business and their study and their research.
Amen. And, as we wind things up here, I just want to say, when you discover your color, and you know what it is, you're not going to be you're going to have a dominant personality usually. There are some people that are an anomaly and kind of have a little bit of everything, but most people are going to be dominating by one color or letter. And so that's very important to understand, that when you're coming into this, is that you're going to have a little I, you're going to have C and S, you're going to have a little bit of all the personalities, but one's going to dominate, and then another one or two are usually going to be up close to that anyway. I know in my own life, I'm very red, but I have a lot of green and yellow in me too, which I really have to work on that because I want to lead. I'm very task oriented. I'm very people oriented, but I can be, as Jody can tell you, I can be a little more organized. I'm not in a compulsive disorder with it, but I'm more organized than her because she is, an IS type of personality. And so it's all about, learning your styles and learning how to sometimes raise your D or lower your D, your red. Sometimes when you're being real yellow, you need to kind of get yourself where, hey, I can be a blue, as far as that goes. So, when you find out what your brand partner's colors are, as Alicia has here on this, you begin to know how to work with them from their personality standpoint, understanding everybody's not wired like you. Not everybody's going to build the business like you or think like you. And you need to respect that, or else you're going to get very frustrated and realize, that when you want all these people on your team because all of them are going to contribute and do a really good job of helping you to expand your business. Anything else, Alicia, you want to say?
Nope, just know your color. And
Know your color. All right,
your-
Dr. Stacy, we be done.
Thank you guys so much for that thorough explanation. That was very helpful. I can tell by the comment section, the chat, that everybody was like, okay, all right, this is good information. Good to know who I am and good to know how to work with other people as well too, which just like Kai had mentioned earlier, this is networking. We're working with people. We're building those nets and we're building relationships. So thank you both for taking the time.
I love that some of the people are putting their colors up as their profile picture.
That's great. Oh my gosh. They want the link to determine. Did you guys give the link yet? Did you put the link in there?
The link for what?
How do you determine what your color is?
Oh, I thought we had sent that out. Jody, are you on? Can you throw that up really quick? Can I put it on the millionaires page?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to hold us up any longer, but I'll put it on millionaires page.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Kai, for being here this evening, taking the time to join us. And thank you, Stan, Dr. Stan and Alicia. Appreciate everything you guys do as amazing leaders in this organization. So I'll get this recording up and get it posted in the team page. Everyone have a fantastic evening. We'll see you all soon. Bye.